Hello, and welcome to Tara's Mental Calibration. So, before I get started, I want to go ahead and put out the disclaimer that I am not, angels agree, I am not a medical or mental professional. I do recommend therapy. I am currently in therapy myself, dealing with my own trauma therapy. And I highly recommend that whatever you could be going through, make sure you are within a good support system. And if you don't have one, like myself, I do not have a bunch of support with what I'm doing. So I slowly started building my support, and my therapist is part of my support system. Um, just know that there are people out there that you can talk to. And that goes into the trigger warning. Some things that I talk about to you may trigger some things within you. Um, just listen with your own discernment when it comes to your own comfort, and do not continue to listen if it brings too much up at once. So for today's episode, I am going to talk about numbing and avoidance. And it's kind of funny that as I was typing the title out, I'm like, can avoidance really be avoided? I don't think so. I actually have dissociation disorders going on. I do have, OCD. I have CPTSD, PTSD, anxiety. I do not have, I don't take care of any of this with medication. So this is part of my therapy, which is talking it out and trying to get through it. So what is so difficult about talking about this stuff is that I do go through things where I numb myself out. If things are too overwhelming, my feeling goes out the window. I have a hard time laughing. I have a hard time connecting. I have a hard time feeling the moment. Sometimes when I'm just now thinking about like when I was younger, and sometimes even now, like if I'm given a gift, you can tell when I'm really excited about something, but sometimes it's so overwhelming that it numbs itself out. And so it can make it look like I didn't appreciate it, or I wasn't happy with it, or um, I don't get like a smile on my face. It just, it's hard for me to express my emotions that way. And so I tend to try to push myself a little bit. I push myself out of the comfort zone where, let's say I'm given a gift and I'm like, do you really like it? Yes, I love it. Okay, express that and say it, and make sure that you have that genuine look on your face. And it may sound like it's calculative. It may sound like I am um, faking it, but I'm really not. It may sound like I have to like prep myself. Well, I do, because I've been through so much trauma. I tend to dissociate. And so any overwhelming feelings can bring anxiety. If I'm too happy, if I'm too sad, if I'm too stimulated in any kind of way, it is very overwhelming and I can dissociate. And what's even, you know, more intriguing to me is that it's very powerful on how people can't tell. They can't tell when I dissociate because I push myself through. I don't recommend everybody to push themselves through. It's just my way of doing it. Um, I used to push myself through on a very high level to where I would short out. Like it would be too much. But now I push myself through of, come on, let's challenge it. Let's go ahead and work that muscle out a little bit. And if it's comfortable enough, then let's go a little further. I really look at it like it's a workout session. And I try not to um, dissociate entirely. So, with that being said, I try my best to read the room. Now, that's one of my problems of reading the room too much. So, I have this whole thing where I'm used to reading people's minds, reading their emotions, reading their vibe, reading what they do. Like I look into everything because of my CPTSD. If you don't know what CPTSD is, please Google it. Please, please, please get information about it. It's a post-traumatic stress disorder. It's very complex, and it's from trauma that goes back to back to back to back to back. It's not just one episode. It's a lot of traumatic effects or events that happened back to back. So, there was something that happened, uh, I want to say like a week or so ago. And I was told that there was, like, they were trying to give me like a loving vibe, a loving energy. And I didn't pick it up. I think that I've done that so much in my life that I've gotten burnt out on that. So it's like if a person can't tell me, or if they can't like literally show me, I'm not really picking up on it. And that can be a little disheartening to a person, like if they give you a certain look, or if they rub your hand a certain way, or if they give you a hug. They may be trying to tell you something without telling you, like that kind of stuff is great. It's wonderful and it should be done. What could possibly suck is if somebody doesn't pick up on it. And, I did that. And instead of feeling bad about it, I explained, to the person that I'm at a point now that I have read the room so much, I have picked up on vibes so much that sometimes I just want to relax and not do it. And I numb out. And um, I allow my nervous system to relax. And after talking to this person about it, they, kind of said that, yeah, I could have said something. I could have let it be known, just to take the guesswork away from me and me always feeling like I have to be on point. My whole therapy is about not having to always be on point. People need to talk when they need to talk, and I don't need to read the room all the time. So that is very different for me. So also when it comes to numbing out, when when I was in my trauma, like living through it, in order to protect myself, I had to numb out. I had to dissociate. I had to avoid looking at certain things because it was a defense mechanism. It was something that protected me at the time. And I went through so much trauma that my body and my mind learned that that was a normal thing. Like I should be feeling that all the time, every day. And that's not the case. It served me when it served me, but it doesn't serve me all the time. And now I am learning, like I have literally had to learn when to put it away and when to allow it out. I noticed that what I've been trying to do lately is think about the moment that I'm in. and ask myself, does this call for my normal behavior of numbing out or avoiding? And if the answer is no, I try my best to sit through it. Most of the time, it works, but guess what? Some of the time, it does not. And of course, I don't want to hurt other people. Of course, I don't want people to feel like I don't appreciate them or like I don't vibe with them or anything like that. But once again, if they're not like stamping it on my forehead, I'm not looking for it. And I'm not trying to connect the dots, and I'm not trying to do that because I've done it my entire life, and it really can burn a person out. So when it comes to avoidance, one of the main things I avoid is public places. I will go to the grocery store at a certain time. I will, if it's up to me, there are only certain times I will actually drive. Like, if I can't do it in the morning where there's hardly anybody out, then I have a hard time doing it. I really dislike afternoon times of going out in public. And, you know, I do that to protect myself from anxiety, from feeling overwhelmed, from feeling like something's going to happen. When I go out somewhere, I have to know where all the exits are. I have to know where all the entrances are. I have to know how I can get out if I absolutely need to. I prefer to know how many people are there. There are times I have pulled into the parking lot of some place, and if the parking lot is not accessible to the door for an easy getaway, I will not go in. Absolutely not. Um, if I feel like there's too many people, or if I get a vibe where I don't feel welcome, I will avoid it. I will not go in. I don't recommend white knuckling everything in life. So I am really quick to avoid something. Um, Even if it's something that's supposed to be fun, I will cancel it. There was, there have been a few times where I've gotten movie tickets, and if I don't feel right, I will cancel the movie tickets. I don't care if they keep the service charge for getting the ticket, you know. Um, but yeah, I totally avoid certain things, and I avoid certain conversations. I'm really good at if there's if there's a conversation that I want to avoid, I'm really good at diverting it with a joke. I have to admit that I'm pretty smooth with it. I've gotten so good at avoiding and numbing out that, like I said, people don't see it. They don't see the discomfort. They don't see the shift. Um, but I feel it and I know it. I know that it's there. And I've become so friendly with it. I've gotten to know my avoidance side so well that I can feel it coming on, and I will just go right into the transition of avoidance and not um, disrupt the room. I just, my form of avoidance is getting somebody to think about something else. Like if it's a conversation, if you and I are having an uncomfortable conversation, then I can easily change the subject and keep going, or I will make make something happen to where they get busy doing something else so they can I do well with distractions. I can set a distraction really easy. And it's gotten better, but it's still something that I should not be doing. It's one thing to say, okay, I need to think about this and I'm going to come back. But it's different to avoid it, not think about it, and not come back. So I try to not do that. And when I am, if I want to avoid emotional, anything that's emotional, if I want to avoid it, I will just make sure that I am busy or make sure that I'm doing something. I know that I also tend to make something uncomfortable, not like in a bad or a mean way, but I can make something uncomfortable where a person doesn't want to ask me again. Um, I'm going to tell you it's not the best way to do something. The best way to do something is to be direct and just speak your mind. Like what came to mind just now was giving a hug. If I don't want a hug from somebody, I should just come right out and say, I don't want to hug you. Um, but if I do that, it's a person that I don't know. You know, I'm not really a hugger like that. So the only people I allow hugs to is like my husband, and he can hug me anytime. I'm never going to avoid his hugs. But like, I was just thinking, like, if you meet a person or if, even if it's a friend, I'm not a hugger. I'm just not a hugger. And so I can make something really awkward to make them like not want to do it again. Like, let's not do that. When really I should be saying I have an avoidant personality and I don't want a hug. You know, I don't want to I I I really don't like connecting on any kind of emotional level with a bunch of people. Um I'm very desensitized when it comes to connection. So that's where that numbing comes in. And I know that it does serve me when I need it to serve me, but it has also brought dysfunction where it's hard for me to have friendships. You can't really have a meaningful relationship on any level if you are numbed out, because that means whatever they do, even if they disappear, you're not going to care. It comes off like you don't care. And really, you can care. It's just you're numbed out to feeling. So it turns into what you're going to do is what you're going to do, and I can't control you. I've actually heard that before. Like, I've heard a person tell me that before, where I'm realizing now that that was their form of numbing out. Did they care whether I went somewhere or not? Yeah, I think they did. But it's like a protection. It's like a shield that protects you from loss or pain, anxiety, like whatever is uncomfortable to whatever it is that you're feeling. So it's like if you're dealing with any kind of numbing or if you realize that you're an avoidant, um, there are things about it, of course, on Google, also on YouTube. Feel free to like email me with anything that you have to say about this podcast or any others. My email is terrasmentalcalibration@gmail.com. No spaces, no underscores, no capitalized letters. It's all one word. terrasmentalcalibration@gmail.com. And I'll talk about it here on the podcast. Or if you don't want me to talk about it here on the podcast, you can just email and tell me about your experience with numbing and avoidance, what you do about it. Um, like I said, my mechanism is trying to push myself to be better in avoidance and speak my mind. As uncomfortable as it is, I'm actually a very shy person, believe it or not. And you know, I tend to like not know what to say because my confidence level gets kind of low as to whether I can do something or not. But over time, it gets better as my nervous system heals, as I handle what I need to handle, it gets better. So that is today's episode. I'm sending you a bunch of love and light, and I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope it's not too busy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.